Ladies and gentlemen, to present our final award, please welcome back to the stage Maureen Gallagher.
It's my privilege to give out our final award this afternoon. Having grown up with a sister who happened to have Down syndrome, Margaret Van Gelder has dedicated her entire professional life to helping others in our community. While her sister is no longer with us, Margaret truly understands the value that each person with Down syndrome brings to our community. In her role as the Employment and Family Support Director at the Mass Department of Developmental Services, Margaret has worked closely with the MDSC and many other advocacy organizations to make systemic changes that have dramatically improved the lives of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Some of her major achievements include co-authoring the Blueprint for Success that implemented the closing of sheltered workshops in Massachusetts. Transitioning over 3,000 sheltered workshop participants into employment services or enhanced community-based services, which we know is so important to be in the community and to have meaningful integrated employment, and leading efforts to phase out sub-minimum wage work. She initiated the development of the DDS Family Support Centers across the Commonwealth, which offer a wide range of services and activities for families, including families of diverse cultural, ethnic, and linguistic communities. Sorry about that. Margaret authored the DDS Employment First policy, establishing that for working age adults served by DDS, integrated individual employment is the preferred option and optimal outcome. And we've heard some really wonderful stories that show what happens when people feel truly integrated into their employment experiences. Margaret recently wrote and was awarded the Transition to Employment federal grant and is now leading this project, which is working with vocational rehabilitation programs, local school districts, and others to allow students with disabilities to obtain paid, competitive employment and enroll in post-secondary education opportunities. And we are happy to be a collaborator on this project. She's also been working closely with us on the Your Next Star initiative, and she has linked us with employment collaboratives across the Commonwealth to ensure that employers have access to qualified candidates to fill positions identified by Your Next Star. Margaret has been truly responsive and inclusive in all aspects of her work by engaging advocacy organizations, parents, self-advocates, and others. She is a visionary leader and works tirelessly to ensure that all people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families have access to the resources and supports they need to be successful in the community. It is impossible to overstate the impact that Margaret has had on thousands of lives. Margaret is a true champion of the Down syndrome community, and we are proud to present her with MDSC's most prestigious award, the Alan C. Crocker Award of Excellence.
Thank you very much, Maureen. That's a bit overwhelming. This is truly a great honor, and I am really humbled and privileged to receive this award. Thank you to the MDSC and the broader Down syndrome community for this recognition. This award really has very special meaning to me for several reasons. One is that I had the opportunity and privilege to work with Dr. Alan Crocker for many years at Children's Hospital. He left quite a legacy, as you all know. His leadership, humanity, expertise and talent as a physician, his optimism wit, and his commitment to see the potential and gifts of every person were truly inspirational to me as I started out my own career. It's also very special because, as Maureen mentioned, I grew up with a sister with Down syndrome, Barbara, who was born in the early 1950s. She was my older sister. And those of you like me who grew up in the 1950s and 60s know that it was a very different world back then. There were really no expectations and no services to support life in the community. So it's really so exciting to see how much has really changed and the incredibly rich and full lives that people with Down syndrome are leading today, as students, as employees, musicians, dancers, volunteers, athletes, self-advocates, and the list just goes on. I learned so much from my sister in terms of what's really important in life, and I also want to acknowledge my mother, who really was one of those pioneering parents who started parent organizations now known as the ARC, and really were involved in those early fights. Fighting for the right to education and to health care and to a full life in the community. And so I really want to share this honor with them because it was really the influences of both my sister and my mother who shaped my professional life, the values that I have, the will to work and fight for what you believe in, and the importance of working closely and collaboratively with lots of people. I also want to acknowledge and thank all the wonderful individuals with disabilities and families I have had the honor and opportunity to get to know and work with over the years. I have learned so much from them, and they have enriched my lives in many ways. I really look forward to seeing what the future holds, because I think we all know that the possibilities are really limitless. Thank you again for this great honor and the privilege of being recognized in the legacy of Dr. Alan Crocker. Thank you.
Well, it's been wonderful to spend the afternoon with you. I just have a few closing remarks. First of all, thank you again for coming. You've been a wonderful audience. Many of you sent in beautiful photos, and we truly enjoyed seeing them. You'll see a few more in a minute when we do our final video montage, but we'll be using them all year long. So thank you for participating in that so that we can truly get those beautiful images out to everybody in our community. I'd like to thank some people who made today possible. First of all, our management team, who is second to none, who I'm so thankful to have, that really worked tirelessly for the past few months to make sure all the details for today were taken care of. Allison Bubanas, Colleen Andres, Sarah Cullen, Elaine Crowley, Jean Doherty, Josh Kamirov, Jackie Sherman, Reagan Bick, Michelle Lee, Kristen Taglin, Sam Stark, and Chris Ferris and her team. They've all worked tirelessly, and so let's give them a big round of applause for all the organizing. We also want to thank our very talented photographers that came today to take pictures, and I'm sure you'll see some of those pictures. Oh, there he is, Mark Hunt. There you go. Mark Hunt has been amazing. Laura Kilgus, Shannon Manassa, and Eddie Vargas, who are all here today. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate your help. Our many volunteers that have been here since 7 a.m., we thank you for your efforts and for really being here for the MDSC. And then, again, I'd like to thank our wonderful conference sponsors, the Mass Department of Developmental Services, our luncheon sponsor, Seven Hills Foundation, our workshop sponsor, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and our conference bag sponsor, River Financial Group, and our self-advocate t-shirt sponsor, the Berkshire Hills Music Academy. Some of them have exhibits in the hallway, and please, we'd love to have you stop by and say hello. And finally, thank you to the DCU staff and to the Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, where all of our brothers and sisters have been today, for helping us with all of the space and coordination of things. We really appreciate that. We're endlessly grateful to our board of directors and to our honorary board for your continued leadership and guidance. We couldn't do the work that we do without all of your support. We hope that you'll join us for one of our upcoming buddy walks. We have 3 walks across the Commonwealth, and they're a wonderful way for us to create awareness in our community, and they're growing. We have close to 5,000 people that participate in our buddy walks on an annual basis, so we hope you'll join us again this year for that. We have evaluations, and we really do seriously look at people's evaluations. We're always looking for ideas for new topics, so please fill those out at the end of your last session and pass them in on your way out the door. Educators who are here, we have PDP certificates for you that you can pick up on your way out. And if you're an award winner, we have a photographer here to take pictures with you and your family, so please stand by in a few moments for that. And finally, new this year, we have a little silent auction to help raise a little bit of money to go towards scholarships for the conference, because we know many families can't afford the registration fees, even though we try to keep them as reasonable as possible, and we want to make sure that everybody who wants to be here does come. So your support in that regard would be very much appreciated. So now, to close the luncheon on a very positive note, here is the final Count Me In video montage. So enjoy the rest of the conference, and thank you for coming.